we go. I figured it out, I think. All right, I am here. Um, and I know this was kind of a last minute live. And I thought I would go ahead and just get this scheduled yesterday. It's been a while since I've been here on YouTube. So we're going to talk about that, talk about some things that have been going on. And hopefully we'll get some viewers in a second. Anyway, I'm Heidi Villegas. I think there's a lag, so I think it's a few seconds or whatever. If you have any questions or comments, what I'd like you to do is write question in all caps in the chat, and I'll try to make sure that I get as many of those as I can. If there's time after I just do some sharing with you, and I'm going to keep it short. Hi, Lavender Crowell. Hi, Michelle. Hey, so glad you guys are here. So, we're going to talk about herbalism today, and we're going to be talking about some aromatherapy, natural living, traditional living. And wow, Lavender, you're in Nova Scotia. I bet it's beautiful there. Kay, hi from North Texas. We've had so much rain here in North Idaho. We have not had much snow. It's really weird. We've had a little, but it's just been raining and raining and raining. I feel like I'm in Washington. And very funny. Here I'm down here at our apothecary in our little small town and of Orofino, and it's a cute little building, but it's a little old house and it's a little cottage, and boy, we've got a roof leak because of all the rain. So we're going to be having to take care of that too. And I just want to know, so as people come on, how many of you are on my newsletter list? I just am curious about that. If you're not, I want to encourage you to get on there because it's a nice way to get information out to you that's not on social media, and I can share a few more things. So if you are interested in that, you can get one of my free things, and I'm just going to put some down here in the chat for you. That is my free herbal steams guide. I'm sharing that right now because it's winter, and it's winter in the northern hemisphere. But even if you're in the southern hemisphere, which I have a lot of students who are, they, you get allergies and things too. But those herbal steams can be really wonderful for opening up the respiratory system, both the upper respiratory system in your sinuses and the lower respiratory system in your lungs. It's really helpful. So grab that herbal steam guide. I just put the link in there for you if you would like that. And then that will put you on my newsletter list. And I want to just assure you, it's very easy to unsubscribe. I do not play games with my email list. If you don't want to be there, no hard feelings at all. But I just want to encourage you to get on there. I teach a lesson in my email usually a couple of times a week, and give you great information that you can't find anywhere else. And it's just a wonderful free way to get content herbally and aromatically from me. So here we've got, Michelle's from Nevada. Awesome. I'm a former Nevadan for 50 plus years of my life, actually. Oh, good. Michelle, I joined your channel and newsletter yesterday. Thank you so much. And Lavender's already on my newsletter. You guys are wonderful. Thank you. Alfred's from Manitoba, Canada. We have so many Canadians coming into the school and the community right now. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. If you're in Canada, you may be. But the Canadian government, I think this was going on 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago. Those big major bills, those groups of laws that the governments want to sneak things into because nobody's going to read the whole 2,000-page document. Tell me in the chat if you're familiar with those. Just give me a yes or tell me what you think of them. But oh my goodness, I was listening to a really reputable herbalist from Canada do an interview, and this was a couple of years ago. They had just passed this massive bill, and inside that bill was a little law that stated it was making some changes to product sales in Canada of herbs. And this herbalist was saying that he thinks that about Canadians are only going to be able to buy about 30% of the herbal products they're able to buy now by 2025. We're here. And that's actually, there's been whispers here in the United States that the FDA is really going to start coming down hard on more and more herbalists. I know 2 herbalists who have businesses, and the FDA and FTC have, I know them personally, and the FDA and FTC have given them warning letters or shut parts of their business down. So things are happening. It's just, you guys, it's time to learn herbalism. All right. Terry, welcome from Georgia, and Carol here from Virginia. Oh, yeah, lavender is way too many laws. I know, it's crazy. The government overreach is excessive right now. Angela says, "Hey Heidi, I haven't seen you in a while. Haven't gotten an email or a newsletter in a while from you. Hope I'm still on the list." Angela, this is happening more and more, and not just to my business. It's happening to others as well. Depending on your email service provider that you have, they're starting to scrunch down on what they're allowing you to see. So it's very likely my emails are going into your spam box or your junk box. So do a search and of all of your emails and see if you can find me. And if you can't, just sign back up on my list. And then when you get, I always give you something like a free thing that's valuable. When you get that, or when you get the first letter, just hit reply and say, "Hey, Heidi." That's all you have to say. What that does is it signals your email service provider that you want those notes from me. But I've had a couple of people say that. I have not. You guys, here's a little, probably you're not even interested in this, but I'm going to share this with you just so you're aware. If you have a business and you have an email list like I have, and many other businesses have, most businesses will have an email list, there are laws. And we can't just send emails out to everybody. Like, people have to sign up legally. And I pay for that. So I pay for every single subscriber on my email list. And it's pretty pricey. And that's why I don't care if you unsubscribe, if you don't like me. It's all right. I understand. It's all good. No hard, like I said, really, no hard feelings. I'd rather have you unsubscribed and get my notes and not open them or read them. It's just, if you don't want to hear from me, it's okay. But but there's laws. But the email service providers, depending on who they are starting to cinch what they're allowing people to see as well. And in some email service providers, there's a really, really big one, and I'm not going to name it. They actually have been shutting some herbalists down too, because they don't like the messaging, the content that's going out. And there's another man, what's his name? He's huge, but he had a list of like 300,000 people, and this company shut it down, and he managed to get them back. But it's just nuts what's going on right now. And people don't even know, like, they don't even know. I don't know everything. Sometimes my husband will watch something. He's like, "Did you hear about this or that?" And I'm like, "No." And so anyway, so Angela, just re-sign up. I put a link to my herbal steam guides above there. I'll do it again right here. It's a really good guide to have this time of year. And you can use herbal steams for respiratory system support as well as your skin. It's really, they're wonderful for your skin. And I love doing them. I just think they're so refreshing and beautiful. Yeah. So let's see. Sue says, "Hello from Northern Maine. I already received your newsletter. Awesome, Kay. Thank you. I appreciate that." And yes, I heard. Lavender says that will change when our new PM is elected in 25. Yay, I hope so. I know there's so much hope going on right now. Terry says the government doesn't want us using real things that work. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. It's so money driven. If I just finished, well, first of all, let me just say this, and then I'm going to just talk a little bit about what's been happening with me, because I've been gone for a long time. I don't know if you've even noticed, but I haven't put out a long form video since July. And there's a reason for that. And everything's fine. But there's been stuff going on in my life. But anyway, I just finished up the aromatherapy certification course, the aromatherapy specialist certification, and it's a really, really good course. It's very big. It took me 9 months to write, and that's actually one of the reasons I haven't been on YouTube. I've just been busy, busy, busy writing and writing. But that's a really good course, and I forget where I was going with me sharing this with you, but honestly, it's on sale right now. So if you're interested in aromatherapy at all, it's a great time to get on it. Oh yeah, the book. The book is like it's 2 inches thick. If you want to get it in hardcover, it's crazy, but it's a lot going on. So in 2025, we I just want to just give you a quick overview of what's happened. Every year we kind of take stock of what we've done in 2025. Because are you guys like this? Do you guys get through the year and it just feels like you haven't accomplished anything? How many of you feel like that? Go ahead and write in the chat. Just go ahead. And while you're writing in the chat, because I want to read this. If you have an herbal question for me, or an aromatic question, or a natural living question, or a homesteading question, or even a prepping question. We have a little bit of preparedness going on in our lives. We're not crazy over the top, but I can definitely talk about that. Just put question in all capital letters. I'll see it and then I can answer it for you when I get done sharing. But yeah, in 2025, one of the big things that we did was we moved our school. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have a school where we teach herbalism and aromatherapy and other things people want to learn about. And the school is called the School of Botanical Arts and Sciences. And I can leave a link for that here too if you want. It's a fun place to poke around, even if you're not taking any courses, because it links to my blog and I've got hundreds of articles over there. So this is the School of Botanical Arts and Sciences. So we've got all of our content now over on this platform, and there are multiple courses, short ones and long ones. Hi, Carrie. And Tove, hi. From Norway, welcome. Ava, good to see you here. Terry, nice to see you too. And thank you for your comments as well. It's kind of scary sometimes to put your thoughts out in public because some people don't agree with you. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to disagree. But it's nice when you find that you're not the only one thinking the thoughts you're thinking. You know what I mean? So anyway, we moved the school over to a new platform. And in that process of the move, we just realized just how much is in there. It's huge, especially our herbal membership, the Confident Herbalist Tribe. It's massively huge. It's like kind of over the top, and so much support now, and everything is searchable. It's a really nice resource. Hey, Susan. So great to see you live. I've been so busy with my courses and really enjoying. Thank you, Susan, so much. But anyway, so that's one of the things we did. That move took us, I want to say, gosh, it was about 8 or 9 months. And then in that process, I started the research and the writing and the filming for the aromatherapy specialist course. And that took another 9 months. And it's been crazy. And then I wasn't going to share this, but I'm just going to put this out there. So Lion Publishing reached out to me, and they're interested in talking about me writing a book for them. So we're kind of going back and forth right now in the beginning stages of that. So I don't know what that will look like. I know my friend Mary at Mary's Nest is writing a book right now, and she wrote her first one the year before last, and it took her a long time. So I don't know if it's even something I want to do, but anyway, that might happen. I've already written books and books and books through my newsletter and also my blog or my website and my courses. Like seriously, I've got stacks of textbooks and books, and I should have my assistant print out all my newsletters at some point and see how big they are. Amana, welcome. Amana is one of our students too. And many of you probably are actually, and I'm so glad. So those were the 2025 big things that we did. And what happened with, I'll just share this with you. even though it's a little awkward. In July, here we moved into this. Oh, that's another thing we did in 2025. We bought a little cottage in town for our apothecary because it's really gotten large and we couldn't keep it in even the office that we had over in the hotel. We were in a little vintage hotel here in town. So we ended up buying a little cottage here. It's in a neighborhood and it's not public. It's not like people can just walk in and they have to make an appointment and everything. For consultations or if they want to just see it or whatever. But so we did that in 2025 too. It's been just a year of moving and writing and creating courses. But anyway, YouTube. So YouTube is my favorite place to show up. To be honest, besides my student groups, they're my number one. I love interacting with my students, which is odd because not for me, but for many schools, the teacher's not even there. Like you never see them. Where are they? Are they real? But I do. I believe in that, and that's probably because I've taught elementary school kids all the way up to adults for like pretty much going on 40 years of my life. I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 in like 2 weeks. So it's been much of my life has been spent teaching various things and thankfully herbalism the past few years. And I just love it. It's my passion. It's my heart. And so yeah, it's been something. But what happened in July was I'm just going to share this. I'm very shy, and I think that probably doesn't come across when I get on camera. I think it's because I channel my school teacher self, if that makes sense, and kind of take on that school teacher persona that I used to have with my kids, and so then it becomes fun. But in July, I just had this overwhelm take place. And then we had a cancer diagnosis in our family. And then I had a neighbor here down in town tell me, she goes, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube." And it hit me like, oh my goodness, these people that are like, I see IRL in real life, they're watching my YouTube videos. And I just had this really awkward moment. And if you want to say something about that, please, I'm welcome to hear your thoughts and help me out with this because in this line of business, you're supposed to show up and show up often. And I just kind of dropped off the face of the earth for the last 6 months. So I apologize for that, at least in the public, not for my students or for my email subscribers, but who are here on YouTube. And so I'm getting back on the horse and we're going to do we're going to do a minimum. I'm sorry, I've got a froggy in my throat. We'll be doing a minimum weekly video like I used to do. It's herbal or aromatic or whatever you guys want me to talk about. Please send me your thoughts on that. I had a lot of responses from my email list this morning about the things people wanted to hear about. So I'm developing a little bank so I can talk about what you guys want me to talk about. And if you want me to talk about, the stuff we just talked about with, the legal laws of herbalism, I can do that, or gingivitis, or the digestive system, or whatever it is. And please search my YouTube channel because it's very likely there's already stuff in there on some of these topics. One thing I'd like to talk a little bit more about this year is being prepared. I was in church this morning and listening to the pastor, and then after church, he was talking about things and coming down the pike. And then my husband, I don't watch the news, you guys. My husband said, "Did you hear about this? Did you hear about that?" And I'm like, "No." And so I'm thinking that it's time to really start talking about some of these things. It says in the Bible that if you look at the prophecies, there's nothing pointing to the United States being around at the end time. So it's just something to think about. And if you guys want to hear, some of the stuff that I do, or maybe I can do that too. But anyway, I'm back. And I'm going to really try hard here on YouTube. And also, my goal is to try to get my Instagram account going too, because that's become a place for pretty good content, I feel like. So, yeah, Christine says, very thankful for all the information you provide us. Thank you. And the neighborhood gardener, Happy New Year. I've missed the chats in the tribe. Thankful for the replays. Oh, well, and I know I always do replays in there because otherwise people just can't make it all the time. So it's not fair to the people who can't make it to miss it. I don't like that. So yes, there will always be replays, and everything is searchable. So we're on a searchable platform too, which is really nice. Oh, Carrie says, I'm kind of the same way. Yes, makes perfect sense. I taught elementary school for 29 years. I know, fifth grade was my favorite grade. And I tell you, there's just nothing like you get there in the morning. And if you've had a draggy morning or it's been kind of rough and you're still getting your coffee down, you open that door and you have a lineup of 37 whatever kids, and they're all smiling and they all want to give you a big hug. It was such a great career for many, many years until No Child Left Behind came in. That act ruined education, in my opinion. So anyway, I wanted to talk about what the past, what's happening now, and what my plans are. So I'm going to do my best with the YouTube again, and I would love it if you guys would continue commenting and sharing and all that good stuff. It really makes my day and really helps us out. And then for the rest of this year, I've actually been asked to speak at a couple of conferences. Recently, I was asked to speak at one I'm very excited about. So I will be doing a little traveling to speak, and I'm just going to keep building out the school. And I'm kind of playing around with the interest in aromatherapy. One thing that I just want to talk about the aromatherapy and herbalism really quick. So I'm an herbalist, and I came into this as an herbalist to the natural health world, the natural, trying to fix your health problems naturally. And herbalism is the way I started, and working with the medicinal plants. This was many, many years ago. This was before the internet even had courses out on herbalism. And my first course was a snail mail course. and and I loved it. It was great. It got me going and it got me started, and it helped me get an herbal products shop going, and I was selling on Etsy for a while. And then I just said, okay, I'm going to share all my recipes. And I started the website. Didn't know I could make an income with this. And I realized I was teaching. And then that's when the school started. So we're just going to continue building out the school. But the essential oils, I just want to talk about the essential oils because I get asked a lot. Like, or people will say to me, I just want to learn about herbs. That's all I'm interested in. And I get that because that was me for a long, long, long time. I had such successes with the using herbs and medicinal herbs. That's where my heart was, and that's what I did. And then somebody told me about aromatherapy and essential oils, and I was a little like, not interested in that. But I love smelling things. If you've ever noticed, I when I'm making tinctures and things, I always smell everything. And I thought, okay, there's got to be something to this. And so I'm not a person, I like to have information from legit sources. So I started learning aromatherapy, and I've taken many, many courses at this point in both herbalism and aromatherapy. But I've taken courses from some very reputable teachers in the aromatherapy world and learned a lot about the essential oils. And I started using them in my herbalism practice concurrently at the same time. And I did that because they work better. The remedies just work amazingly well together. And if you think about it, essential oils are just another herbal extract. That's all they are. It's like combining, different herbal preparations with each other, and when you add those essential oils in, so you can really boost up the effectiveness of your preparations. And in my course, Ditch the Drugstore, I teach both at the same time, and people can pick and choose if they don't want to use the essential oils, or if they do, or if they don't want to use the herbs and they only want to use the essential oils, because I have people like that in the school too. But what ends up happening is people try the recipes and the formulations. There's over 200 of them in that course, and they're like, this stuff really works. And it does. They work better than over-the-counter drugs, and far more effective, and they're far more safe. Some of the ingredients in these over-the-counter drugs are terribly dangerous if they're misused, and often they are. It's so funny to me because people will be afraid of the essential oils, or the herbs. They're afraid they're going to mess up, and I totally get that, because I used to be that way too. I actually hurt my husband once because I didn't know what I was doing way back in the beginning. I used cayenne salve that was way too powerful on him, so actually it was too effective, but not realizing that he had more sensitive skin. But anyway, I just teach both, and that's what I do, and they work well together, and I'm not ever going to apologize for that. But I want to just talk about, the little bottles of essential oils. They're tiny, and yet they last, like, this is 100 drops, and you only need like a couple when you're doing things with them. They're easy to store, very easy, and some of them have very long shelf lives. And so to me, if I'm building out a medicine chest and I want it, my products to last a while, well, I'm going to try to make the products that are going to last the longest. A tincture, for example, has an indefinite shelf life if it's stored and made correctly. Essential oils, depending on the essential oil, will last anywhere from 2 years to 20 plus years, depending on what it is. Can you believe that? 20 plus years. So most of them fall in the range of between 5 and 10 years. So again, if stored correctly. So they shouldn't be discounted, and they shouldn't be discounted as unsustainable unless you're purchasing from a really crummy company. Then yeah, I suggest that you're probably not engaging in supporting a sustainable company. I have a list, by the way, on my website. If you go to my website, healingharvesthomestead.com, and go to the Get to Know Us tab, you'll see a place that says Shopping Guide. And if you click on that and scroll halfway down, there's a long list of aromatherapy companies I completely trust. I'm not an affiliate for like 90% of them, so I make no money. But these are companies I 100% trust and I use myself. So you can actually go there and dig into that list and do some price comparisons, and just know that you're buying from a good company. Yeah, Carrie says, I feel essential oils and herbs go hand in hand. This is why I signed up for your courses. Well, thank you. So you guys, nobody has any questions. Is it because you're all shocked that I'm here? It's been so long. Yeah, Dawn says, I think essential oils and herbs are inseparable. It's just how one utilizes it. It is. It really is. I know a lady, she's actually on the board of the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapists, which is the United States federal main certification board. And she she shared with us at a conference one time how her company, she's got a products company, they actually combine tinctures with their essential oils, and she showed us how to do it. And I'm like, that is so exciting. And I've actually made quite a few tinctures with essential oils and the alcohol, and for therapies for us here in our home. And occasionally I'll do that for a client. But I started sharing one on YouTube one time, and boy, I kind of got slammed a little bit. And I thought, I probably need to just create a course on using essential oils and herbs together. And then I can include ingestion in there, because you can ingest essential oils safely if you know how to. But if you aren't a certified aromatherapist and haven't had training in that, I really suggest you don't, because you can you can hurt your organs. You can hurt your entire GI tract, and you can hurt your liver and your kidneys, which are detoxification organs. So you do need to know what you're doing for sure. Mariah says, what alcohol do you use in tinctures? Yeah, thank you for putting that in all caps. I know it seems like you're yelling, but it helps me to see it. So what I use in most of my tinctures is 80 proof alcohol. Very simple, very common. You can buy it everywhere. And that's what you can use for most herbs. I would say 70 to 80% of the herbs that you'll use in home herbalism, or more even, can be tinctured using 80 proof alcohol or vodka. So that would be a 40% alcohol is what 80 proof means if you're from another country that doesn't label them like we do here in the United States. But otherwise, if I am tincturing things like resins, I'll go for 150 to 190 proof alcohol, which is like a greater amount. But mostly I just use, 80 proof. And if I run out of 80 proof, I'll go ahead and use 120. And it works really well too. Angela says, question, can you infuse herbs in castor oil? If so, which ones? Angela, I get this question all the time. It's such a good question. So the answer is yes and no. Okay. The castor oil is extremely thick and viscous. That means it doesn't move much, and it just doesn't even pour really well in terms of comparison to like olive oil or one of the other carriers. So what I always suggest is, if you want to get castor oil in your infused oil, that you cut it with another thinner oil. And I would suggest a significantly thin one, like maybe some grapeseed oil is quite thin and less viscous. So when you mix them, you're going to have like a normal oil. So when you shake that jar or let it infuse in heat, then the herbal constituents have a better chance of coming out into the infused oil. And another thing you can do is use the alcohol intermediary method, which I did a video on this. It's my comfrey salve video. I think it's comfrey from start to finish. I'm wearing a bright yellow shirt in that video. So if you watch that video, I show you how to do that alcohol intermediary method with comfrey salve. But if you do that, then that's going to also help the plants release their constituents into that combination of castor oil and carrier oil too. Michelle says, I have many questions, but I'm mostly a newbie and I will watch and listen to begin with. And that is great, because that's how you start. Just, you know what I suggest, Michelle, for you, is keep a little journal. This is what I did when I started. I had a few different journals and notebooks, and I kept one for all of my formulations that I tried and made and that were successful, and I took a lot of notes. And the other thing was I kept track of my questions, because I knew I was going to forget them, and there was also nobody to ask. So as the internet got going back then, I think Google was just like brand new. I was a big Googler back then, which was great, because back then, it was just more trustworthy. You guys, please don't Google stuff on herbalism anymore. Half of it's AI, artificial intelligence, and the other half has been managed by Google, so that all you're going to get is information from the medical sites. And it drives me nuts when, okay, I have animals and livestock, and I've been using essential oils and herbs with them for a very, very long time, decades, long time. And I'll get people writing to me saying, you can't use essential oils with dogs. Pet MD says, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh my heavens, goodness gracious. You have to remember, please, that the big systems, big pharma, big government, the AMA, American Medical Association, the health insurance industry. They hate herbalists. They hate anything alternative and natural. And they want people to be afraid to use herbs and essential oils. So always get information from multiple sources. And if you're getting information from a medical site, I don't want to discourage that. That's a good place to start. But then go to an herbalist and ask. Go to an aromatherapist and ask as well, because you're probably going to get a different answer. And then guess what? This is the hard part, but you have to find your comfort level in all of that, be educated, and make a good decision for you. And you may not make the decision that I make. That's what, that's the power of having choices in our healthcare, isn't it? It's wonderful. Okay. Let's see here. Don says, does it have to be aromatherapy companies? What about Mountain Rose? Don, you know what? Opinions vary on that. Personally, for me, I only purchase from aromatherapy companies, and really good ones. There are aromatherapy companies out there that are not good, and that's all they sell is aromatherapy products. There's lots of them. I just feel like when you start becoming a massively huge company and you're selling all the products, you're going to have people who don't know what they're doing with the essential oils, likely. I know quite a few companies like this. You're going to get private labels where the essential oils are likely adulterated, or they're just low quality because they're buying in bulk. They're not in touch with the local small farmers. And so if you want to be sure that you are supporting the small farmers that are doing all the work, and it is hard work. If you've watched me do any distillation of essential oils on YouTube, you can see it's quite a process. But when I don't know how they do it, to be honest. I'm doing little small amounts. They're doing like massively huge amounts, and it's hard work. But I want to support them. In addition to that, I know that if the company can point to the small farm and go, hey, that's where we're getting our helichrysum essential oil is from this place over here in southern Italy, to me, that says so much. I just think it's a lot safer. So those are the kinds of companies I tend to buy from. I do buy from some larger aromatherapy companies, like Rocky Mountain is good and Plant Therapy is good, but that's what I do. So let's see. But yeah, Mountain Rose has a very good reputation. I tend to buy from those bulk companies for my soap making, because soap is a wash-off product. I'll just buy in bulk from some of them, like Star West Botanicals and Mountain Rose. Let's see, the neighborhood gardener question: can you suggest a tincture for constipation? There's a lot of different herbs that can be helpful for constipation. And so what I would say, this is where, as an herbalist, a holistic herbalist, you have to sit down and talk with the person and find out more about the issue. So in the case of constipation, and I teach my students this in both the Tribe and Ditch the Drugstore and in the aromatherapy course, we really dig into how to work up a protocol, how to create a formulation that works. That's very important. But you have to think about the individual's constitution. If I'm working with a really dry type of person, the herbs I'm going to choose for a constipation remedy or formula are going to be different than if the person is moister. It's also going to depend on what kind of constipation it is and why it's happening. So we also want to go to the root cause and figure that out. If it's simply a lack of hydration, then we just try to work with that while also supporting the bowel movements. If it's something along the lines of opioid use, which the doctors back in the day would just pass out these painkillers like crazy, and people were getting addicted to the opioids. And boy, that'll do a number on your digestive tract and your being able to expel fecal matter. It's terrible. I mean, I know a person who almost died, not from the pills, but from just being constipated. So I'm just going to share a few herbs that might be helpful for you. I want you to go do your research on them and then put some things together. But we teach all this in our school. So the first, let's just go ahead and start from, I don't know, gentle to more powerful. So the first one I would suggest would be fennel. Fennel's a really nice laxative that's pretty gentle for most people. And then I would go ahead and suggest some marshmallow root. Marshmallow root contains mucilage, and it tends to be really moistening to the membranes in the GI tract. Okay. Next up would be licorice. Licorice root, and I would say if you've got high blood pressure, be careful with it. Do a lot of research on it and decide if you want to take it. But for most people handle it well. I am a person who does not. I don't take licorice root at all, but many people can. Licorice root's a wonderful laxative that's gentle, and it's also full of mucilage too. And it's sweet. It tastes pretty good. All right, next up would be senna. Senna is one that now you're getting into an herb that creates enhanced peristalsis in the intestinal tract. And what that means is it causes the muscles to move, and that causes a bowel movement. And then Cascara sagrada is more powerful than senna. And so there's your continuum. Do a little research on those. And there is a product on the market that I have recommended before to people who want capsules or a little pill instead. And that's something called Swiss Chris. It's Swiss and then KRISS. And I think that formula is really good. It's no laxative formula should be taken over the long term, because that's going to mess up your digestive system's normal reactions. So you make sure you're doing short-term use, and or if you need them more long-term for some reason, be sure you take a break for a little while, and that can hopefully help you out there. Let's see here. Don says, can I define aromatherapy? Because essential oils don't have to be for aromatherapy. Yes. So if you think about the word aromatherapy, you've got aroma, which we know ours is smell. And then you've got therapy, which means usually for our health, our mental health or our physical health. And so aromatherapy basically used to be let's talk history for a moment. If you go back thousands and thousands of years, there's scientific evidence of aromatherapy, not as we know it today, but they were using aromatic plants for rituals. They were using them for spiritual reasons, like incense is a form of using an aromatic plant in that reason. They were also using them for health, and the other reason they were using them for was perfumes. Like Cleopatra was famous for bathing herself in rose. So basically, there's a lot of different uses. If you look at aromatherapy today, and this started back in I think it was the 1930s, with Maurice Gattefossé in France. He actually came up with the word aromatherapy. That's the first time it had ever been used. People have been using aromatic plants forever for multiple reasons, like I just said, but he ended up creating starting to consider aromatic plants as a part of a medical system. And then later on, Marguerite Mari came along, and she was a beautician and was using the aromatic plants and the essential oils in her beauty products. So you can see aromatherapy has just kind of evolved into what it is now, where scientists, because of all the studies that have been done on them in the past, especially 20 years, there's been a ton of studies in the past 20 years proving that essential oils, and you have to use the right ones, just like you do with herbs, but they have powerful impacts on our emotional health, our mental health, even our spiritual health, if we want to use them that way, and our physical health. They're amazing. And I love them because they're just so little. They smell so good. Mm. I've got to be careful with that one. That's Roman chamomile. It will put me to sleep. It will definitely relax me. But they work, and they work wonderfully in conjunction with your medicinal herbs too. So that's aromatherapy. Christine says, do you have recipes for homemade whipped tallow using essential oil combinations? I actually don't have any recipes for using whipped tallow. I should make some because I love this stuff. I usually just will use it as is. But yeah, I think I'll do that. I have, here's the thing. If you go to any of my herbal salve recipes, you can use those essential oil combinations in your tallow recipes too. But I'll do that. I should make one of those. I'm going to write that down. Okay. Sue says, I hope I word this correctly. The labeling on essential oils, if there are other ingredients in that bottle, does that have to be included on the label? Sue, the answer is absolutely yes. Legally, every ingredient that's in a product has to be listed on the label. Now, with that said, this is where essential oils can be a little tricky, and I really only suggest you buy from good companies. Because the government doesn't regulate essential oils. So you've got companies out there now and businesses. They have figured out how to make many of the chemical constituents in a lab synthetically. Linalool and linalool acetate that are found in lavender are two of those. Let me give you an example of why, and this is another reason why you should buy from good companies. So there's been market research done on lavender essential oil, which is very common, and it's not expensive, and it's easy to obtain. Okay, but back 20 years ago, they studied how much lavender essential oil was actually being sold versus today. They're finding that there is less lavender essential oil sold today than there was 20 years ago. Well, you ask, how can that possibly be? Because essential oil use has grown massively, right? Lavender is one of the most common and popular essential oils out there. Well, it's because it's one of the most adulterated essential oils, because it's so easy to just throw garbage in there or get a fake fragrance and throw it in there. And that's what these companies will do, many of them. It's terrible. And people will use essential oils, and they'll say, well, they don't work. Well, if they're not working, it's like you're either not using them right, or it's more likely that you're buying a product that's not essential oil. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Yes, always read the ingredients labels. If it is a reputable company, they will have every ingredient on there. I was at Whole Foods. This was probably 15 years ago or so, back before Amazon owned it. And I was with a friend of mine, and I had been studying essential oils at that point for a little while. And we were talking, and she decided she wanted to get some lavender essential oil. And so she's a price shopper only. And so she got the cheapest oil. And I said, well, let's look at the ingredients. And sure enough, it wasn't just lavender. It was mainly carrier oil. And I said, well, you're not going to have a very powerful product there. But if you get this one that's pure, then, and it was only a few dollars more, and it was a decent company, Prana Rome, I think it was. And by the way, I do not ever suggest you buy essential oils in big box stores, but if you must, a company like Prana Rome is pretty good. They're out of France, and they've expanded into the U.S., so they're pretty good. But anyway, the answer is yes. The ingredients do need to be listed, but they not always are. Okay, and definitely, you guys, if you get an adulterated essential oil, they're not going to put that on the label. They're lying. there's lies. Yeah, you have to watch out for a lot of things in every area, right? Dawn says, I'm an RN of 37 plus years and in healthcare for 50 plus years. That's great. We have a lot of medical professionals in our school, and I love that because it's kind of like people are waking up and realizing, hey, there's more to our health and wellness than popping a pill, right? And that's how I got into this. I was so sick. I was so sick by the time I hit my 30s, and then heading into my late 30s. I was like, something's wrong here. But I was taking all these over the counter drugs, so I could sleep, so I could wake up, to manage my period cramps, to deal with TMI here, sorry if you're a guy, especially yeast infections from taking antibiotics, from urinary tract infections. And I had back pain issues, and they wanted me on Xanax. I mean, I was a disaster. I was a walking disaster. Talk about side effects from drugs, and the doctors didn't talk to each other. So I had rosacea terribly bad. And now I know it's because my liver was messed up. If your liver's messed up, it usually presents in your skin in some manner. And that's, what was going on with me. When I turned to herbs, because I could not get answers from the medical professionals. And I think doctors are good people. I love them. I have a lot of them in my family. My daughter is finishing up medical school right now. She's going into her residency this fall. So it's like, I have a great respect for them, but they're not trained in holistic healthcare. And if you get doctor, and they're busy, they have to see so many patients in a day, and they don't get a chance to really talk to people. Well, those were all factors in why I was so sick. So I love it when medical professionals start looking at herbs. At least my daughter was always against herbs, and then she ended up having to stay with me for a few months before she went into medical school, and I had her do research on some of our books that are in my Herbal membership, the tribe, they're very well researched. And so she's doing all this research, and she's like waking up. So she has a much better respect for herbal medicine. And I'm hoping at one point she'll merge the two. That's my hope and my prayer. Let's see, the neighborhood gardener question. I've harvested mullein leaf and dried it. Before drinking as a tea, do I need to strain it differently than using regular tea strainer for plants because of the tiny hairs? It depends on if those little tiny hairs bother you. They don't bother some people. When I make mullein tea, I just make mullein tea. But if you want to strain them out, I suggest using cheesecloth, and that will get them out much better. Dawn, I don't mean to be, you're not stupid. You're not stupid at all. I do not know what you mean by aromatherapy, because I hear you equating aromatherapy and essential oils. Aromatherapy is about using aromatic uh, plants and essential oils, and that's what it is. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how to answer your question. Aromatherapy is essential oil use. When you, here's an example. If I gather some eucalyptus and some peppermint and some rosemary, and I put a drop of each in my palm, rub it together, and do some cupping over my nose and do the inhaling, well, that I know that's going to clear my sinuses, potentially, that always does for me, and probably get rid of any headaches I have, and it's going to energize me. It's going to do all three of those things. Well, all of those are therapies, and that's therapeutic use. So, and I hope that makes sense. Carol said, I'm a full-time caregiver to my 85-year-old mom, also my fiance who has cancer. I've learned so much from you. Oh, thank you, Carol. Thanks again for sharing your knowledge with us. Forever grateful. Oh, hey, Patricia from Mississippi. Terry says, question, what company or companies would you recommend? So Terry, go to my website. It's Healing. I'll go ahead and my website here. My website. Actually, that's the school site. But if you go to that site and then click where it says blog, that will take you to the school or to my regular website. And when you go there, click on the Get to Know Us tab. I'll put that in there too. And then in that tab, you're going to see the shopping guide. I'll put that in there too. And in that guide, if you go halfway down, you're going to see a huge list of companies. And I don't make any money from this list. These are companies I vetted. I trust them. They're international. Some of them are local here in the US, but they're very, very good. And most of them have reasonable prices. So, but they're very, very trustworthy. Okay. Let's see. Jenny Lynn says, question, have you used Simply Earth essential oils? If so, what's your take on them? And I can't talk about that publicly. If we, one of the things that we learn in online business is if we, unless it's positive, we really shouldn't say anything at all because we could be sued. I will say that for my own personal use, I choose not to use them. Okay. Jen says, question, does glycerin cause enamel problems for your teeth? Well, it's a sugar alcohol. I think if you're putting pure glycerin on your teeth all the time, like anything, you might have some problems. But, alcohol isn't the greatest for your teeth and enamel either, or your gums. So what I always say is dilute. If you're concerned about that, dilute it in water, okay, and then rinse. Patricia says they hate herbal healing because they want us to stay sick. If they heal us, they go broke. Yeah, they want us sick, but not dead. I say that all the time, right? We can do so much healing through God's plants if we do it right. And that is so true. All right, you guys, we've been on for an hour. I can't believe it's the top of the hour already. Thank you so much for coming on today and just hearing what we've been up to. Oh, I want to encourage you, if you haven't gone through the Herbal Tea Challenge, I decided to leave it on YouTube for free. I was going to sell it in my school because there's a ton of information in there. It's a really good challenge. But if you are interested in learning how to just start getting into herbalism and you like teas, I am teaching. I think I teach formulation in there. I teach how to flavor them using essential oils. I teach a number, all kinds of things in that Herbal Tea Challenge. And I created a playlist for it. So just go to the front page of my site, look at the playlist. You'll see it there. And, you can check out, go dive into herbalism. And you guys, seriously, I just want to say this before I sign off. I want everybody, or as many people as possible, or at least every extended family, to have access to an herbalist and or an aromatherapist, preferably both. The herbs we can grow at our fingertips. That's the power of herbal medicine. And essential oils, we have to, probably purchase them, although you can make hydrosols right in your home. But anyway, I'm saying this because things are changing in this world. Things are happening that are out of our control. And I don't know if you listen to alternative channels for information, but there's stuff going on in the sky. There's stuff going on in the soil. There's stuff going on in our food. There's stuff going on everywhere. And I think we owe it to ourselves to give ourselves as much empowerment in terms of what we put in our body as possible. And then we get to decide, do we want the pill? Do we want the herb? It's like, I think we need this knowledge. So I just want to put that out there. And I have a ton of free stuff. Like, get into the YouTube channel and watch the videos. Get into my website, hundreds and hundreds of articles on the website. Get on my newsletter list. Get that herbal steams guide, or I'll put that link in here again. That'll put you on my list, and then you can, let's see, and then you can decide if you want to stay or not. Some people tell me I write too many letters, but honestly, I teach in every single one, and it's okay if you unsubscribe if you don't like it. So anyhow, I'm so glad you're here because I want you to learn this. Jen said, so glad I took the dive into your family herbalism course. Grateful for your community. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, it's a great community. The student groups are amazing. They are. We have built such a great team of people to support our students. And yeah, and I write text with every course that I put out there. So it's not just, I'm not just taking videos off of my YouTube channel and putting them into the course. I am filming specifically for our courses. So, okay, I love you guys. And it's so good to be back. I'm glad I did this today and kind of jumped back into the water, got back into on the horse. Oh, Carrie, thank you. I love your newsletter. So informative, and it's like chatting with a friend. Thank you. I love that. All right. Bye, you guys. I'll see you on the channel or in the newsletter or in a course. Bye.